Sometimes, when God is getting ready to change your life, the very first sign is not a blessing, but a discomfort. Suddenly, the place that once felt familiar no longer satisfies you. What used to bring you peace now feels empty. You begin to feel restless inside, and nothing around you seems to fit anymore. This is not a sign that something is going wrong. It's a divine signal that something new is coming. God often disrupts your comfort to prepare you for your calling. If He left you comfortable, you would settle where you are, but because He loves you too much to let you remain in a small place, He begins to stir your spirit. That discomfort is not punishment, it's preparation. You might notice that routines feel heavy, conversations feel shallow, and the life you used to tolerate now feels too small for who you are becoming. It's like wearing a coat that once fit perfectly, but now feels tight. That tightening is spiritual. It's the sign of growth. When a bird is about to fly for the first time, the nest starts to feel too small. God allows that pressure because He knows you will never spread your wings while you're still comfortable sitting in the nest. So, He shakes the nest not to break you, but to wake you. During this time, you may start questioning everything. Your job, your surroundings, even your own desires. Deep inside, there's a whisper saying, there has to be more than this. That whisper is heaven speaking to your spirit. God begins to disconnect you internally from what you have outgrown before He disconnects you physically. People around you may not understand why you suddenly feel distant or quiet, but it's because your spirit is shifting into a new season. You don't belong where you used to be, but you haven't yet stepped into where you're meant to go. This in-between season feels uncomfortable because it's a holy transition. Just like a seed buried in the soil, you may feel pressure on every side, but pressure is a sign of growth. The seed cannot become a tree while remaining comfortable underground. The darkness, the weight, and the tightness around it are all part of transformation. So, if life feels tight, don't panic. Instead of asking, God, why is this happening? Start asking, Lord, what are you preparing me for? That shift in mindset turns discomfort into expectation. When God is preparing to change your life, one of the clearest signs is that He begins to quietly remove certain people, opportunities, and even habits from your path. At first, it may feel confusing or even painful. You might wonder why certain friendships suddenly feel distant, or why someone you deeply trusted no longer walks beside you the way they used to. But this separation is not rejection, it is divine protection. God sees conversations you never heard, intentions you couldn't discern, hearts you couldn't read. He knows who can go with you to your next season and who cannot. So, in His wisdom, He begins to filter your circle, not to hurt you, but to preserve your destiny. There are moments when people will leave without explanation, and doors you were excited about will shut without warning. You may feel like you're losing things, but in reality, you are being delivered from what would have limited you. God removes what was comfortable in order to make space for what is divine. Just like a tree must be pruned to produce more fruit, your life goes through a pruning season where unnecessary branches are cut away. That cutting may sting, but the purpose is growth, not loss. Sometimes the people leaving your life are not bad people. They simply served their purpose in your previous chapter. Not everyone is meant to walk with you forever. Some people enter your life as lessons, some as blessings, and some as temporary guides to lead you through a specific phase. Once their role is complete, God gently shifts them away so you don't become dependent on what was only meant to be temporary. If you insist on holding onto what God is trying to remove, you will delay what He is trying to bring. You may also notice that old desires and habits begin to fade. Things you once enjoyed no longer satisfy you. Conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. This is not boredom, it's spiritual realignment. God is detoxing your life from what cannot follow you into your new season. Some doors close not because you are unworthy, but because they are too small for where God is taking you. He will not allow you to shrink yourself just to fit into places that no longer align with your calling. There will be a moment when you feel like you're standing alone, but that loneliness is a sacred space where God draws you closer to Himself. He isolates you to elevate you. Before He brings new connections, He first removes distractions. Don't chase after what He is trying to detach from your life. When God closes a door, it's not rejection, it's direction. Trust that every removal is making room for something more anointed, more aligned, and far greater than what you lost. There comes a moment in your journey when an inner stirring begins to rise, a holy restlessness that you cannot ignore. You may not be able to explain it to anyone, but deep inside you feel a shift. What used to feel normal now feels too small. You wake up with a quiet sense that you were created for more than this routine, more than this cycle you've been repeating. That is not just a random feeling, that is the voice of destiny whispering to your spirit. God often announces change not through a loud sign in the sky, but through a gentle dissatisfaction in your soul. You start feeling like something is missing, not because you are ungrateful, but because your spirit is sensing the next level calling you. This inner stirring is God's way of saying, prepare yourself. Your season is about to change. When a baby eagle is ready to fly, the mother begins to remove the soft layers of the nest, exposing the thorns underneath. The nest, which once felt safe and comfortable, now becomes uncomfortable. The eagle begins to feel a stirring, a push to rise, to try its wings. In the same way, God allows life to poke at you, not to harm you, but to pull you out of comfort and into calling. That restlessness is not punishment, it's an invitation. You might notice your patience for meaningless things becoming very thin. You no longer enjoy gossip, empty conversations, or wasting time on things that don't align with your purpose. Your heart starts craving peace over popularity, purpose over applause, and depth over distraction. This shift in appetite is a sign that your spirit is maturing. It's like God is upgrading your vision, and now the things that once satisfied you no longer have the same taste. Your soul begins to long for something more God, more clarity, more purpose, more meaning. Even your prayers start to change. You no longer pray just for blessings, you start praying for direction, wisdom, and discernment. You stop asking God to give you what you want and begin asking Him to prepare you for what He has already planned. This is a sign that your spirit is aligning with His will. The restlessness is actually a divine alignment taking place inside you. Heaven is preparing your heart before your feet step into the new season. One of the most powerful signs that God is about to change your life is when opportunities begin to appear that you didn't chase. You may suddenly find yourself in conversations you didn't plan, rooms you didn't expect to enter, and connections you never asked for. This is the moment when favor begins to move on your behalf. When it's God's timing, you don't have to force doors open. He opens them for you. What others had to strive and struggle for, you will begin to see appearing with grace and ease. It's not because you are lucky, it's because you are aligned. There will be moments when you say to yourself, I don't know how this happened, but somehow it worked out. That somehow is called divine favor. God begins to position you in places your qualifications couldn't reach, your experience didn't earn, and your effort couldn't secure. When He is ready to elevate you, He sends destiny helpers, people who speak your name in rooms you've never entered, people who mention your gift in places where decisions are made. These connections are not accidental, they are orchestrated. You might also notice that certain ideas and opportunities start to follow you. Instead of you chasing after success, success begins to chase you. Emails show up unexpectedly, invitations come that you never requested. Someone suddenly notices your work or recognizes your value. You may even hear this phrase, I don't know why, but I feel like I should help you. That's what happens when God places His hand on your life. He gives you favor with people without you trying to impress them. This season is very different from striving. When you're striving, everything feels like a heavy push. But when favor arrives, there is a supernatural ease. Things begin to flow. The same steps that were once difficult suddenly start to align. It doesn't mean there won't be effort, but the weight of that effort shifts from your shoulders to God's. You do your part in obedience, and God does His part in elevation. When God is about to change your life, you will feel a sudden pull to draw closer to Him. It won't be forced, and it won't come from religious pressure. It will come from within your spirit. You will feel an unusual hunger to pray, to seek peace, to sit in silence with God, away from the noise of the world. Even if you don't fully understand what is happening, something in your heart will whisper, "Come closer." This is a holy invitation. Before God shifts your circumstances, He first shifts your heart toward Him. He prepares you in private before He blesses you in public. In this season, you may notice that your soul becomes sensitive to His presence. Worship starts to feel deeper. Simple scriptures begin to speak louder. You start craving moments of stillness, not to escape life, but to receive instruction. This is because God is not just trying to change your life. He is trying to align your spirit so you can steward the blessings that are coming. Elevation without preparation can become a burden. That's why God whispers to your heart, drawing you closer, so you can receive the wisdom, strength, and clarity needed for the next level. You might also find yourself losing interest in things that distract you from His presence. Parties that once excited you now feel empty. Endless scrolling feels meaningless. Temporary pleasures no longer satisfy you. This is not you becoming distant from life. It's you becoming closer to purpose. God is detoxing your spirit from noise so you can hear His voice clearly. When He wants to speak, He first quiets your surroundings. Sometimes you will even feel isolated, but this isolation is not abandonment, it's invitation. God often pulls you away from the crowd before He reveals what He has planned for you. He did it with Moses, with David, with Joseph, and He is doing it with you. The world may see separation, but heaven sees preparation. In quiet places, God reveals secrets. In stillness, He releases instructions. What you receive in this private season will guide you in your public season.